Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is a woman chess grandmaster WGMAtousa, and today I have a very interesting game for you guys, especially if you're wondering how you can get a winning position against the super grandmaster in just 7 moves. Yes, you heard me right, just 7 moves. So today I'm going to show you a game between Hikaru Nakamura versus Krzysztof Duda, and as you know, both players are very talented and super grandmasters. They are top chess players. So this is a blitz game, and I love blitz games. Why? Because they are so exciting. You don't have that much time to think, and players, even super grandmasters, can make mistakes easily. And it's about just, intuition, who can decide the moves faster, and it's about technique. So let's look at this game because I found this game very interesting, and also the opening is really nice. If you are playing this opening as white, then you can beat your opponents easily. So let's dive into it. So as you can see, Hikaru Nakamura is playing as white and Krzysztof Duda is playing as black. White started with knight f3, black played f5, d3, knight f6, and here white played e4. Black took the pawn on e4, which probably was not the best move. The best move was to play d6 to protect the pawn on f5, but Duda decided to just capture the pawn so he can win a pawn. And so basically he accepts the gambit. d4, knight takes e4, bishop d3. So white sacrificed the pawn in order to get a better development. And as you can see, white is moving the bishop out. It's with tempo. Black doesn't have time to develop his pieces. He needs to protect the knight. And he played knight f6. Another move that black can play in this position is to play d5. But even after d5, white can capture the knight. Pawn takes bishop. And now white can exchange the queens and then move the knight to g5. Notice that now the knight wants to move to f7 to fork the rook and the king at the same time. And also the knight is attacking the pawn as well. So white is going to get his pawn back with a better position. So in the game, after bishop d3, Duda played knight f6. And white played knight g5. Very aggressive move. So the light squares are really weak in black's position, and since this diagonal is open against the king, this can be really dangerous for black. So black played d6, and here white found a beautiful tactical move. I want you guys to pause the video and think about the best move for white. Yes, the best move for white is bishop takes h7. Why? Because we want to check on h5, but there is a defender here on f6, so basically we want to deflect this knight away so we can move the queen to h5 to check the king. In the game, black took with the knight, but let's say if black takes with the rook, we can take, knight takes, we can check on h5, we get a fork, the king moves, and we can simply take the knight. Here, white is +2, white is up 2 points, the king is really exposed, and white has a winning position. That's why Duda decided to take with the knight. After knight takes h7, Hikaru Nakamura played queen h5 check. The king is in check and the king has just one square to escape. So black played king d7, and here white played queen g4 check, and they repeated 2 times to basically gain time. Especially if you're playing blitz games, you usually want to get more time so you can think about your next moves. So here white played queen g4 check, king e8, and then queen h5 check. In this position, black can also play e6, because notice that if the queen takes on e6, black can play king c6, and suddenly black pieces are kind of vulnerable in this position, and after queen c4, black can move the king back to d7, and it's not that easy to win this game. So after e6, white should play knight f7 to attack the queen and the rook, and after queen f6, white can capture the rook, g5 to attack the knight, and now white can play h4, which is a very interesting move. And the idea is we want to open up the rook against this queen later on. So if the queen takes on h8, we can take the pawn on g5, and the knight on h7 is pinned, so here white should be better. But in the game, after queen g4 check, Duda played king e8, queen h5, king d7, and then Hikaru played knight f7. The knight is attacking the rook and the queen. The queen has just one safe square, queen e8, queen h3 check, king c6, queen f3 check, king d7, and knight takes h8. Knight f6, bishop g5, developing the bishop, knight c6, knight c3, knight e5, the queen is under attack. White played here queen e2, c6, f4, knight f7, and here white didn't exchange the knight, so he played knight g6, king c7, knight takes f8, queen takes f8. You might wondering that here why black is keep on playing since white is +2. I mean, white is 2 pawns, and if it was a classical game, probably Duda would just resign even after 10 moves. But the point is, since this is a blitz game, anything can happen, and sometimes players can make mistakes in time trouble. So that's why he keeps playing. Maybe white cannot find the winning moves, and he can, get some chances. That's why when you are playing blitz games, you try to play until the very end, or until when you know for sure that your opponent can convert it. So white played castle here, bishop g4, queen e3, bishop f5, rook ae1, e6, queen e2, d5, h3, queen c5 check, the king is in check, king h2, and here knight d6, queen e5, rook f8, knight e2, and here Duda played knight g4. I mean, he sacrificed the knight, but he didn't need to sacrifice here, but I think he just set up a trap basically. And here the only move is h takes g4, because if we move our king, then the queen can get captured. So h takes g4, rook h8 check. The king can't move to g1 because of the queen, so the king should move to g3. And even though it seems like this king is, vulnerable, but actually there is no piece to attack the king. And if black wants to check here, he needs to unpin the knight first. So after king c8, white played knight d4, and here black can't play knight e4 because let's say if the knight checks on e4, we can simply take with the rook, and now after bishop takes e4, white has many ways to win in this position. White can take the pawn on e6 and check the king, and if the king, for example, moves to c7, we can even take the bishop on e4, because after d takes e4, we can get a fork and get the queen, and this position is absolutely winning for white because white has an extra bishop. So in the game after this move, knight d4, black just resigned, and here Hikaru Nakamura won the game. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I chose this game because the opening was really interesting, and it's really rare that grandmasters get worse position after a few moves. So it was really interesting for me. I hope that was interesting for you as well. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.